Am I starting? Okay. Um, Hello, everybody. This is all going live now. I'm on Facebook for the first time. Thanks all for joining us today. My name is Neeta Gulhane, and today Maharashtra Mandal London has kindly given me this opportunity to host this conversation. This is a conversation to raise awareness for a noble cause to find a stem cell donor for our little Veer. Now, who is Veer? Veer is a 4-year-old sweet little boy. He's a, a boy of a very good friend of mine, Kirpa and Nirav Gudka. I have known Kirpa for a very long time. We are pharmacy colleagues for about 15 years now. So this is my way of giving back to her. Um, Thanks to MML, Maharashtra Mandal London, and all the executive committee members for giving us this platform. In particular, I'd like to thank Shamal, our president, who tirelessly works and always encourages and promotes such causes. Thanks, Shamal. I hope you're watching us live. I also want to thank Tejesh, our vice president, and Vinod, our secretary, who's they are the backbone of all of this, and they selflessly work behind the scenes and behind the screens during this COVID time. Thank you, Tejesh and Vinod. um, I'm sure I'll get told off for mentioning their names, but hey ho. Of course, I'll also would like to mention Tejali and Rashmi, who have been great support for hosting this event today. I'd like to mention that this is purely an awareness raising campaign, so it helps people make an educated choice. Tejali is going to co host with me today, as we're going to ask questions to Karpa and Sonali, because I may forget some questions and Tejali may have some questions to ask, and we'll share asking questions. If anybody who's watching us on Facebook has any questions to ask, please raise this. Please ask them on our chat on Facebook, and we'll try and answer them as we go along. And if we cannot answer them now during this live session, I'm sure we can get back to you with the answers if we have them. I'd just like to mention something about us being as humans. It's in our innate nature to help, and as much as we try, sometimes we hold back some decisions because of the fear of unknown. We don't know how to make these decisions simply because we probably don't know much about it. Some jargons that are very big and we don't understand them. And that's why we are here today to get together to hopefully answer some of your questions and allay some of those fears. Um, and we hope that Veer's superhero is one amongst us listening today and makes the move of being a donor. Thank you all for being with us today. I'd like to introduce Karpa and Veer's family. Um, Hi, Karpa. Hi, Nirav. And who
Hello.
are the two little ones sitting there?
Hello. Say
She's
hello,
got a
both
big
of you.
smile on her face. Hello. What's your name?
My name is Veer.
And you're Veer. Hello, Veer.
My
Would you
name
like?
is Honey.
Hi, Suhani. Are you Veer's older sister?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to say something to everybody today?
Yeah.
What would you like to share?
I'm 6 years old,
Wow.
and
And what are we looking for today?
and
Are we looking for someone to be Veer's?
we're looking for someone to be this match.
Okay. Do you understand what a match means and what it is?
No.
Is it a big word or is it a small word?
Small word.
Hi, Veer. How are you?
It's
Yeah, Kausar over. Hi. Hi,
Hi,
Nita.
Nirav. Hi. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Thanks for
Hot
coming on
today.
board. Sorry?
Hot today.
I know, I know. The weather's really hot. Yes, Veer, would you like to say something to everybody who's listening to you today?
Will you be my superhero?
And thank you for watching.
And thank you for watching. Will you be my lifesaver?
Is it camera? Tell them.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on live. You're very brave. You're a very brave boy.
Are you brave, Veer? Are you brave?
No.
Yes, you
So
are.
what does the name mean?
What does your name mean, Veer?
My name is
Your name means superhero.
I won't disagree. I will not. You are brave and you are our superhero. And what are we looking for today?
We're looking for
looking for my lifesaver.
Yes, we're looking for that superhero who will come along our way and be a perfect match for you and make your life better. Right? Okay, shall we start then? Um, I'll start by introducing Kirpa, who's been my friend for ever so long. I can't remember how long we've known each other. I think we started our careers together, isn't it, Kirpa?
Yes. Yeah, it's a long time now, but it feels like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Exactly. Before I forget, I also would like to tell everybody that we've got Sonali. Sonali is on board.
We are indeed. We are
Hi,
indeed.
Sonali.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for being on board. Sonali has been a previous donor, and she'll be sharing her experience. So I've just called her on board to say hello to everybody. Thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule to.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's an absolute
Okay,
pleasure.
okay. We'll touch base with you later. Thank you. Okay, Tejali.
Hi Nita, hi
Hi,
Kripa,
Tejali.
hi
Tejali is my
Sonali.
co-host today, and she's offering to show us. She's currently going through the process, and she'll be showing how the registration process happens. Okay, thanks, Tejali. You can nip in and ask questions when you think I'm not asking enough questions. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Hi, Kapa. Okay, go on. What were we saying? We're saying we've known each other for long. Yeah. Tell us about Veer and
Just bear with me. I think my internet. Can you hear me properly? The
I
internet
can hear
connection's a
you,
bit
but you've
unstable.
frozen a bit.
Okay. If it does get worse, I'll go into a different part of the house.
No problem.
So yes, thank you everyone for listening, and thank you, Nita and the committee for allowing us to speak today to this community. So Veer he's only 4, and he has this rare genetic disorder called Fanconi anemia, which is very rare. Only affects 100 to 150 families in the UK, and heard of this condition. And honestly, if you look at Veer, there's nothing, you look at him and you think there's nothing wrong with him. And we were so shocked to hear that he has got something so severely wrong with him last year when we found out. And this condition means that his bone marrow, so the bone marrow is it's in your bones, and it produces your blood cells, and his bone marrow is not working properly, and so he's not producing enough blood cells, and therefore we need someone who is a matching, so that he can have a transplant of his bone marrow.
Okay. So this is what drives this whole campaign, right? And it's not just Veer.
Yeah, I mean,
It's children like Veer. Is it just Fanconi anemia, or is it other condition that need stem cell?
so This no, there are so many conditions. The main kind of condition which people may have heard of is like blood cancers, like leukemia, people that have different types of blood cancers. By having a bone marrow transplant, you can delete there. Amazing this is, and we'll talk about it later. But by doing something really simple, you can get rid of people's cancers. For people like Veer, who's got the rest of his life ahead of him, you can, by being his match, you'd be able to kind of give him this extra life that, you know, currently we've been told that the condition he has is life limiting. And if we don't get the proper, you know, the stem cell transplant isn't as successful as it should be, we stand to lose him. And so by doing this, you could help lots of people with lots of different conditions.
Okay. We have done this. I know Veer, you found out about Veer at a young age of, say, I think 2, 3,
3, yeah.
3. And since then, you've been running these campaigns, these drives, pre-COVID times, I remember, because we were part of the volunteers group. How did you, how, I mean, how successful were they?
So we've had a bit of a journey, obviously, since we found out last August, and we started campaigning around October last year. And so initially we set up our own Facebook pages, Instagram pages. We also we made a website so that people can donate and register via that and find out more about how to be a stem cell donor. And so we spent a bit of time setting all that up. And then we reached out to lots of Asian communities that we were aware of, and we did our best to kind of get them to spread the word within their communities. And initially, from word of mouth, we had lots of registrations coming in, maybe about 1,000 registrations we got initially. And then we found that actually it was difficult to get this message across to people, like just from word of mouth. And so we then thought, let's go to actual events that are being arranged by communities, even opticians and pharmacists. Like with pharmacies, we were trying lots of different ways to try and get people registered. And we were registering people in person, and we were trying to make it easy for people because you know, I think with these things, I think if it was happening, say, at your local school, or you might be more inclined to think about it and register and you ask the questions that you want. And I think it was going really, really well. We were getting, you know, hundreds of registrations that way as well. But unfortunately, because of coronavirus, all that has had to stop. And so now we are trying to raise this awareness, spread our message.
By the online way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know we've run 2 such campaigns in the past. I've been told, because I wasn't part of that campaign before. I mean, at Dollis Hill at the Maharashtra Mandal, and I know whoever I ask, they say, "Oh, we are already on the register. May it be DKMS or Anthony Nolan. Will come to that later as to where you can register." Um, and I know you've run so many drives, and I know lots of people have run so many drives. I myself am registered on the because once before even Veer, I found out about Veer, I registered myself for another little girl. And why is it so difficult to find a perfect match? Is it just because I remember asking you this question? I'm already registered. How do I know I'm a match? And I remember you answering this question that it's not just. I said my blood type is so and so. Isn't that enough? So that was a question I kind of my scientific brain wanted to know. Um,
Yeah, we get asked that question a lot. This is nothing to do with your blood group or your blood type. It's a lot more complex than that. Like they match it on your DNA. and it's 10 or 12 different factors that have to match with Veer. And the closer the match we can get, the better for Veer or anyone else that we are searching for. And it's 10 different factors, so it's very, very rare and very, very difficult to find a match for someone. We've been told things like it's 1 in 100,000 people before you'd get your match. So we are working towards this figure of we would need to get 100,000 people registered to find his match. And you know, it kind of depends on a lot of factors. One factor is your ethnicity. And the problem we have is that there are not enough people of the same ethnicity as Veer on these registers. And it's across all BAME, you know, ethnicities, all the smaller ethnic minority group. There are just not enough donors. I think Caucasian people have a 70% chance of getting their perfect match, whereas Asians only have a 20% chance, and that's such a big difference. And that is just because there are not enough Asians.
Okay.
I mean, if you take the UK alone, there are 2% of the UK population are registered as stem cell donors, which when I first heard that, I was so shocked. Like 2% of however many people there are in this country are only are registered. And if we
mean 2% of the South Asian population within UK?
No, this is 2% of everyone, all ethnicities.
Okay.
So the number of Asians are probably
even
very,
much
very
lesser.
thin. Yeah. And this is why Veer and so many other people of the same kind of background are struggling to find this match. I mean, we've got another friend of ours who's of Caucasian background, and she told us that her daughter had 6 matches, 600% matches, and we can't find one for our son. And this is the problem. We really need the South Asian community to consider this, really, really consider it, speak to people in their communities, and, you know, let's change this, because today we're talking about Veer, and, you know, we never thought this would happen to us. We never thought it would come on our doorstep, but who knows, like, God forbid, it could happen to someone in your family. And if we all work together now, then if it does happen to someone that you know, then, you know, they have a better chance, and they're not having to do this to try and raise awareness when, you know, all we want to do is spend time with our son now, knowing that we've not got much time with him possibly. But instead we're having to do all of this to try and raise this awareness, because I think people are just not aware.
Yeah. And what can we do to make people aware was my question. And this is one of the attempts at making people aware. And also, I think people are scared of jargon. Stem cell donation seems like a very scary word for anybody. I mean, let alone you and me. We are actually in the field, and for us itself, it seems like a daunting word. And I can imagine it may be the same for a lay person who probably do not understand scientific terms. So it's making it as breaking it down to as simple terms and making it as simple for them to and telling them it's not it's it's like donating blood. Most of the time, I won't say all the time, most of the time, and that's what I think. That's what you told me, and that kind of gave me that confidence. And I think we need to pass that confidence on to people, because I think most people are sitting on the fence, not knowing what to do. As much as they would want to help, they're on the fence. A lot of us, or a lot of my friends, have actually registered on the the donor register, and thanks to all of them that have. But once they have registered, how do they know that they're a match? Or I'm sure Sonali will answer that question later on. But what happens? How do you check whether what to do next?
Yeah. So just going back to your earlier point though about people being not sure of doing this, and maybe not being aware. And yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity to learn more. But our website, which is www.helpveernow.org, has a lot more information. There are lots of videos on there about what the registration process entails, what the donation process entails, and I know Sonali will talk about that later. But there's a lot more information. So if you've got any questions, you can always contact us via that website. We've also got our Facebook pages as well, at Help Veer Now. So there are ways to find out more information, but also this forum is just such a good idea, Nita, to just talk about this and raise these issues, because yes, like you said, it's not an easy decision to make. It does sound very scary. I mean, the word stem cell donor, people think they're going to lose part of them to help someone else, and it's not like that. It's something you can do, which will, whatever they take from you in this to donate for someone else, you will regenerate.
Yes.
With not a long period of time, you will get back to normal, really. But and Sonali will talk about this later, but in 90% of the cases, it is like it's just from donating blood that they take your stem cells, and then the rest of your blood comes back to you, so you don't lose anything. In 10% of the cases, you will have to go into hospital and they take it from your hip bone. But again, that's it. Whatever they take from you, you will regenerate. And by doing something so small in a way, you can do something, it achieves something really big where you can save people's lives. So it's really important that people do look into this and talk to others about this, because if I knew this, I only found out about this, like you were saying, Nita, a few years ago, and if I knew about this sooner, I would have done it sooner, and who knows how many lives we could have saved along the way. But and like you said, we all want to do something to help people. This is something that we can do. It's in our hands, and it's something we can change. So so with that,
it's still not too late, because please explain to everybody what is the age range we're looking for, and what are the statistics of who can donate and who are best at I would say become best matches. I mean, I know I've seen some statistics somewhere about men under the age of 30. I don't know, you can shed better light on.
So you can donate in this country. It's a worldwide register. So depending on which country you're in, you can donate via your local charity. So in the UK, you can donate with DKMS and Anthony Nolan. In India, they also have another DKMS charity there. It's a different one. And they have Datri. So there are lots of options. And in America, there's different ones. And on our website, you'll find all the links. And in the UK, if you are between 16 years old and 55 years old, you can register. So you're right, it's not too late. Up until the age of 55, you can still register, and you will be put on this international register until you're 60 something. So up until 60 years old, you can still donate for someone.
So you don't have to be registered on all. You can just be registered on one, because there's a single register all the way through. It's an international register.
That's right. And so if you go to our website, you can find the registration links, and you need to be a relatively good health. So for instance, if you've got blood pressure, but your blood pressure is controlled, you can still register. If you've got diabetes and you're on medication, you are stable, you can. So just have a look to see if you're eligible. If you are eligible, you fill in this form with the charity. They send you a swab kit to your home. You do this swab. It's just swabbing the inside of your cheek, which I think we're going to show you later.
Yeah, Tejali's going to show it. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then you just post it back, and it is a really simple process. And once you've posted it back, they process it. It takes about 2 months probably from start to finish for this whole process to go through. But once you are registered and you've got that email to say that you're registered, they will then contact you if you are a match for someone. So that's when you'll get that call to say, you're a perfect match for someone. This is what you'll need to do next. And like, I just think, how amazing would it be to get that
Get
phone
that
call? If
phone
I was
call.
to get that call for someone else, like, I would just feel like, like my life has some purpose. Like, I've done something
I'm
that
sure Shonali will share that experience.
yeah, that just would be amazing. And so that's basically how the process works.
I
And then
I
once
was
you're a match,
I was happy enough to just get the card. I got the card that I'm a
yeah,
register, and I carry it with me all the time. And I suppose it's something that I carry. But obviously, as you say, that day when you get a call to say you can save someone's life is a rewarding experience. And
yeah,
yeah.
that would be really good.
Yeah. Okay. Another quick question I want to ask you, Kirpa, is I know we've shared this about where do we register. There are different organizations. We've talked about the international register. What if no match is found for Veer? What next? What are the options?
So if we don't, for this condition, it varies for different conditions. I think for some conditions like people with leukemia or different blood cancers, it might be their last opportunity to save their lives. With Veer, we know that there are options. So, like, if Veer doesn't get 100% match, so for him, it would just mean that his immunity put us, that he doesn't reject it. The body, because what happens with this, the body, when it gets the new stem cells, to see it as foreign or as not its own, and then it will start attacking it, and it wouldn't work. And that would be very, very dangerous for Veer. So you want 100% match as much as possible. But if we don't find it, then me and my husband are there as a backup, and we are a 50% match.
Yeah,
Get
that
through
was
it.
my
But
next question.
unfortunately, if he goes that way, it's going to be a lot tougher for him. And it's already a hard process. And to see a 4-year-old go through this it's going to be hard. With 100% match, it's going to be hard. But
It's
with
funny,
a
isn't it?
50% one, it's worse.
You and my question is, it's funny that you and Nirav both are not matches for Veer and even Suhani. I mean, uh, and you have, and there is someone out there who is a perfect match, and we're looking for that superhero.
I'm sorry. I think that my
Internet
it
went
cut
down.
out what you said. Is it about the fact that we're 50%
Yeah,
matches?
yeah. Being parents, we're 50% match.
Yeah, yeah. It is funny. It's like basically, because I guess we're half of his makeup, right? And in fact, Suhani, his sister, was the best chance. Like, she was the most likely to be a perfect match for him. But there's only a 25% chance that she would have been. So unfortunately, she wasn't. But the sibling is the best chance that someone can have. But yeah, I mean, if we had to go down that route, I mean, it could still happen, but it just would mean that it would be a lot harsher on him. We also do stand to lose him if the body rejects it, the stem cells, and also the recovery will take a lot longer. There could be a lot more complications, and as it is, the recovery could take about 6 months. But if it's not a perfect match, then it can take up to 18 months for recovery. So this is why we are trying to raise this awareness and to try and get him this 100% match in time.
Yeah. I think we've kind of come to. Tijali, have you got any questions?
Hi, Kripa. I'm going to turn off.
Hi.
Hi. It was really heart touching to listen to everything, all the things that you're going through, especially considering I have a 4-year-old child. I cannot begin to imagine your pain. It's just, there have been times I was tearing up in this conversation. So it's really remarkable of you and your whole family to be so strong during this time. What I wanted to know is basically it's a numbers game from whatever I have understood. There is like a minuscule percent of people who can actually be donors. So we just have no other option but to raise thousands and thousands of people. In one way, I think we're lucky to have the most populated country in the world. Uh, how have you been trying to capitalize that number of people to get you to help Veer?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is a numbers game. I mean, every time a new South Asian person registers, it increases Veer's chances of finding a match. And we know that. We need more people to do this. It is like finding a needle in a haystack, literally. And unless people register, his chances are very slim. We know that. 1 in 100,000 people. We've been campaigning for almost a year now, and we've probably got about 7,000 people. So we're still so far from that target. And there are already millions of people on the register as it stands. It's an international register. There are already over millions of people on this register, and not one of them is a match for him. This is the odds that we are fighting against. So early on in our campaign, we thought that if we want to tackle South Asians, and it's a worldwide register, let's think about other countries as well as the UK, because there have been many campaigns in the UK, but I think India doesn't have as much awareness maybe as maybe the UK does. So we also linked with the India and the American organizations, and one of our cousins in India has been doing lots of different events and different like community events at weddings, at religious functions. They have, and one of our other cousins has done like have held swab events at a hotel that they own. So they've managed to get hundreds of people on the register in India as well, and which is brilliant. Like the support,
hundreds is not the number that's going to help us.
It's not the number, but it's just great that this is what we need. We need people who can think about the places that they're in, whether it's internationally or like in the UK, and think about their workplaces, think about their schools, think about their communities. Like, you know how Nita has done this. She knows that she's part of this community, and she's thought this is a good idea to raise awareness within this community. So if people are affiliated with any like organization where you think that we could spread the word further, then this is what we need. We need to kind of keep the word spreading to get those numbers in, and that's the only way that we will do this.
Yes. So
somebody's asked a question on Facebook. Please explain what the stem cell donation entails, process of giving stem cell. I think that'll probably be covered by Sonali. Is that right? And we probably briefly covered that as well, right, Kalpa?
Yeah, I won't go into too much detail because Sonali's she has donated her stem cells for someone, which is amazing, and she will be talking about that later. But just to give you a little bit of an idea, and I did touch on it earlier, but 90% of the cases, if you are a match for someone, you will have to go into a clinic and you give it, they just, you donate blood and they take the stem cells from there. And then in 10% of the cases, you would have to go into hospital and they take it from your hip bone. But there are really good videos on our website, so that will give a lot more information, a lot more detail. So have a look at that, and then if you're still not sure and you have more questions, you can always approach us. But Sonali will go into her method of the way that she donated in more detail.
Thank you, Kalpa. Tejali, anything else?
Well, I think I should get the users to understand, as I said, as we discussed, Nita, the other day, that we are all born with this innate this feeling of wanting to help someone else, and it's coming out. I mean, it's this time that we're living in is the proof of that.
Yes.
The way people are going totally out of their way to help others. But there are things like these in which people are sitting on the fence simply because they don't know how much of the time is going to have to be donated to this. There are hundreds of other things that generally take precedence over it. It just keeps sitting at the back burner. So I think I want to be a part of this awareness, just simply to tell people how easy it was for me to just get on this side of the fence and take that leap and want to show that I want to help. So all I had to do was fill in the DKMS form that I got forwarded by, I got from one of your awareness posters. And, it was just that moment when I was sitting and literally scrolling through the Facebook or Instagram, absolute mindless scrolling, and you see this and you feel like, let me just see what it is. So I just clicked on it, and it took me like 30 to 40 seconds to fill up the whole form. It wasn't that much. And then I forgot about it. And I felt like, oh, this could be my great chance to help someone. And I didn't know what was going to happen next. And I completely forgot about that. In the next 3 days, I found this in my mailbox. This is a form which I was confused about what's going to be in it. Because again, that website does not tell much about what, or even if it does, we didn't have the time to go through all of it when you're not even sure if you're going to be a match. So I filled it, and that was the end. And then I found this kit. It came with 3 different leaflets. It was even simpler than what I thought it would be. So there is this envelope that came along with it. It contains a swab, which looks a little bit like, I don't know if you can see this through. Can you see it?
Yeah.
This looks a little bit like a cotton bud. And it's given me a set of instructions exactly how I should do it. So it says, firstly, we can never touch the tip of this swab with our hands or anything else. Let's not let anything else touch the tip of this swab. We need to take each one out, rub it in the inner side of the cheek, sort of, it's not just the saliva that's going to help. So you need to sort of press it a little bit for about 60 seconds. You rub it at the upper and the lower gum, and then you move it in like an up and down motion. And all the instructions here are extremely clearly mentioned. So it really is a no-brainer. We don't have to try very hard to understand how it's done. And there are 3 swabs. We have to alternate between cheeks. And so that's 60, 60, 60, 180 seconds. And that's it, you're done. You leave this aside for about 5 minutes, let it dry, don't let it touch any other surface. And then you put it back in this envelope and sort of remove the stick and seal it. And it comes with a prepaid postage. So you pack the sealed envelope inside the pre-postage stamp envelope, and then you post it. This was simpler.
As simple as that.
This is simpler than most other things that I do in my daily life.
This is actually simpler than what I did. I actually walked into a pharmacy and actually I had to actually make that trip. Now in COVID times, obviously, I mean, we think, I mean, it's a pandemic and we're all stuck at home. How do we help? But DKMS and Anthony Nolan and Help Veer have made it even more easier. It is posted to your home. So,
Exactly. I was just simply amazed and blown away by the simplicity of this. And what I want to tell people is it really, I keep repeating this, but it's really simpler than most of the things that I do in my day. And this is one thing that can save a life. So I don't understand why I haven't done it for all these years. Why have I wasted so many years of my life when I could have already saved some? And nevertheless, it's not too late. I will still do my bit, hopefully be a match for someone. But I think for everyone to know who's sitting on the fence, who has the inclination, who has the interest in helping and has been putting this at the back burner thinking, I don't know what it's going to take. This is what it takes. It takes 180 seconds of your life to give someone an entire, I don't know, one person or many people, like a whole elongated lifespan. So please go ahead and do this. I urge, and just knowing that I am possibly going to be a match, or I could even possibly try to help someone, just makes me feel better. And I guess it's just also the way we should all live. Yeah. So I'm going to do this and post it, and I wouldn't have wasted anything, and it would have been the simplest thing that I would have done. I really hope Veer finds his match. So guys, it's just a numbers game. It's just a numbers game. The more people do this, the higher chances of people, the higher chances of Veer to survive or anyone else like Veer. So it takes nothing, people. Let's just do this.
There's another question on Facebook.
Mhm.
Somebody's asked, if there are millions of people waiting for a match, how do they prioritize who receives the donation when a match is found for those with the same condition? Is it chronological?
No, so you are not likely to be a match for more than one person. So there's all these people on the register waiting to be a match for someone. And like I said before, if you match the 10 different factors, if your tissue type matches 10 factors of someone like Veer, then you would be a match for him. So, I think Sonali, you touched on this last time I spoke to her, is that it's very but it's unlikely that you'd be a match for more than one person, and there are many people unfortunately that go through this that don't get their match. So it is a numbers game. We need more people to register to increase those odds.
I mean,
So I hope
this
that,
explains Sonali donated like 8 years ago. I mean, she was lucky to be a match for one person.
yeah,
So yeah,
I hope that answers the question.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, can we? I would actually like to introduce Sonali all over again. Hi, Sonali.
Hi, Tajali, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm really well, thank you.
Is something blocking your camera? We're unable to see
Oh,
you.
oh, sorry, is this better?
Yes,
Better,
definitely.
sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you, Sonali. Thank you for being such a great inspiration
Oh,
for so many of us, and thank you for continuing to do the great work you're doing. So Sonali, for everyone's information, is apart from being a stem cell donor, she is a nutritional therapist, a fitness instructor, and she's a co-founder of Body Plot, and helps people all over the world to get into the best health and shape of their lives through sustainable lifestyle changes and through the nutrition, fitness, and health. So she, as we all know, we've spoken, has donated her stem cells about 8 years ago, and believes it's one of the most rewarding things that she has ever done. And she actively advocates for others to join in the register as well. So this is amazing work that you're doing, Sonali. Once again, I think I would like to ask this on behalf of the viewers and all the people who are interested about what was. I just want to start from the start. What made you consider the stem cell donation to consider being part of this donation process? What was the trigger?
that's a really great question. So, I think my parents would agree. Since I was a child, I always wanted to help. So whether that was helping mom in the kitchen or helping dad with DIY, it's kind of been in my nature that I've always been somebody who wanted to help. I didn't know about stem cell donation until a distant relative of mine in Canada was also in an urgent appeal like Veer is. And one of my close relatives in London decided to set up a drive. And they said, we're looking for matches for this particular relative. Can you come and see if you're a match? And without even thinking twice, it was a no-brainer for me. It was, if I can just go somewhere and take a swab test, come back and be a match, oh my gosh, what an amazing thing that could be for this particular person or for anybody else out there in the world. So my kind of initial, like I said, my initial intentions and my motivations was to help, but I initially launched in because of the awareness through the appeal for this particular relative. And I think these sorts of awareness campaigns and drives are incredible because people do have a lack of knowledge and awareness, particularly when you're not in, say, suppose medical community. Maybe your profession is non-scientific, so you're just not even surrounded by it, and perhaps you are blessed enough to not know somebody who suffers with a form of cancer. So it's actually very difficult to sometimes know, and yeah, this level of awareness has been great, and that's what kind of led me to go on and register to the register.
So so what exactly happened after you registered? I know the process of, I just explained the process of like registering. I don't know what happens after that. So if you can throw some light on that, how did it sort of maneuver beyond that?
Absolutely. So, where Dijali, you've managed to do it at home, I, like Nita, went in. So I went in, but it wasn't far away. I went to a drive which was about 15 minutes away from my home. I did a quick swab test. They were super friendly. It was an Anthony Lone drive. They were really friendly, really, really helpful. It took me all of 2 minutes to go in, take a swab test, and come out. Thereafter, I didn't hear anything. And I was actually at university at the time. So I was just carrying on with my day to day living. And then I was in the library and I got a random call and I stepped out and I got the amazing news, which was I'm a match. And honest to God, I have to say, it was one of the best days of my life. To be hearing that you're a match and you can save someone, what an amazing, amazing gift and what an amazing call to receive.
Wow, I'm waiting for that to happen for me. But how long did it take from the day you registered to the day you get the call? How long was the wait?
Yeah, so I have family friends who are on the donor list, and one of our family friends is now 55 and he has been on the donor list for 30, 40 years and he's never had a call. For me, I had the call within 6 months. So it's really
Wow.
about who you are and whether you're a match. And some people are a match, and that's awesome. For some people, they go through years and years of their life never being told they're a match. So just because you donate doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a match. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to donate. But me personally, I was told within 6 months, which is amazing. I've never heard of that being so fast before.
Yeah, that sounds remarkable. And then what was the whole process like? So when you get what happens after you get the call? How soon did you have to go, or I have no idea. Don't even know what questions to ask you, because you have to just explain to us right from the beginning how it works.
Sure. So as soon as I got the call, I was then asked whether I want to donate. That might sound really strange to people watching, but one really important thing that I mentioned last time and I'll mention again is that whoever you sign up with, whichever organization, for me, like I said, it was Anthony Nolan, they have your health, both your mental and physical health. Your mental health and physical health is their priority. So they won't take you on and they won't allow you to donate unless you are of both physical and mental sound health and you genuinely want to. They never want to, hold you at gunpoint and say donate. It's not like that at all. It's really, really friendly, and they want to make sure that you are completely comfortable. So on that phone call, they kind of let me go away, let me think about it. I mean, there was nothing for me personally to think about, but I wanted to discuss this with my parents, my partner. I wanted to make sure that everybody was kind of in the know before I launched straight in. But they give you that time, which is amazing. They don't pull you in straight away. They give you the time to go in, ask questions, think about it, come back to them with more questions. And it's, that's a big part of the process.
No, I think it's extremely important, and it's really considerate of them to ask that question, because you sometimes make a decision in a heat of the moment, and then you never know. 6 months, a lot can change in your life. You may reconsider, you may take a rain check on that, or your health has changed in a way that you may not be able to. So, or something else has happened in your life. You're getting married tomorrow. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Anything can change. So it's important to be 100% sure and be given the liberty to make that decision for yourself, and not hold you, on a gunpoint that you've already committed and now you can't turn away from it. So it's really nice of them to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then thereafter, once I gave him a call and said, I'm really happy, let's do this, they then brought me into the London clinic, which is near Baker Street. It's like a 3-minute walk away from Baker Street. They offer to pay your travel as well, which is really considerate. It's not something I was personally like, hey, they're paying for my travel, I'll do this now. But it is just a gesture from them to know that you're doing something amazing. You're putting yourself out there, taking the time out. So they do pay for your travel. They can do a taxi for you. They can pay for your travel via public transport. But I went into the London clinic. I had a chat with my nurses, and then they did a real full once over. So they do all of your checks, your most essential checks, to make sure that you are in adequate health. And again, just to reiterate, your mental and physical health is their priority. They will not compromise one's health for another. That's not the way that the system works. They want to make sure that if they are trying to find a donor, they need to make sure that the donor is also really, really healthy and they're not putting their health at risk. So that's a really important for many people watching to know, is that your health is important, and all of the organizations involved will make sure of that.
Wow. This is just a question that stems out of what you just said. Kirpa, if you find a donor, for example, in India, there are these questions that suddenly arise, how do I make it to there, or how do they make that happen? It was much easier for me because this envelope came to my doorstep. I didn't have to lift a little finger. But if it happens to be a donor in another country, in another continent, how would that happen? How did that work? Do they travel?
It's really easy for the donor. They make it as easy as possible. You would basically say if Veer's match happened to be in India, they would donate at their local clinic in India, and then from India they would transport the stem cells via probably aeroplane to the UK for him, and they have 3 days to get the stem cells to him. So it's remarkable that someone across the world could be his match even. And for the donor, it's a very simple process. They'll do it to the closest place for them, which is usually not too far.
Yeah.
I have seen some videos on Helpware about international, donors from other parts of the country, and then they're meeting after many years. That was really a heartwarming story.
Yeah. So that's good to know, Kripa. Also, I wanted to ask Sonali. So after that, again, what happened after that? Continue.
So I had my medical check. Everything was a-okay, which is great. And then thereafter, the process started. So actually, the process of donation actually starts 5 days before the donation. So what I had was a nurse coming to my home to deliver what we call GCSF injections. So GCSF is a hormone which is injected into your body and increases the amount of stem cells that are produced in your body. So currently you're producing stem cells at X rate. What they want is to increase your stem cells by a huge amount, so that when you do that delivery, you're actually able to produce that many stem cells for the particular patient who is receiving them. So these injections are no more painful than your average injection. They don't hurt any more or any less. They're exactly the same. And the beauty of it is that the nurse comes to your home to deliver these. I had a couple of days of the injections in my thighs, and then a couple of days the injections in my abdomen, so my lower stomach. So they like to make sure that there's a little bit of skin or a little bit of fat so they can inject it in. Hence, it's actually a little bit less painful, should I argue. I guess the first thing that I say to anybody when I'm describing the stem cell donation process is I never make it look rosy. I'm very honest about my stem cell donation journey, because I think it's important for everybody to be real prepared and to actually understand the process so that they know what they're getting themselves into. For me, the 4 days of actual physical injections, not so painful, but the effect of the injections, a little bit painful. In that, because you are producing so many stem cells at such a fast rate, your bones can be getting a bit heavier, which means that you can experience quite a lot of muscle aches, you can experience some bone aches. It can be a little bit difficult to just maneuver yourself as fast as you do. For some people, they get headaches or a little bit of nausea. For me personally, I didn't experience any headaches or nausea, but I did experience a lot of muscle pain and bone aches. The way I can help people visualize what sort of pain this is like is when you've got a bit of the flu and it's just a bit more of like those muscle aches, but a bit more than the flu. But the way I saw it is it's 4 days. It's okay. Like the flu sometimes lasts 2 weeks. This was 4 days, right? And actually it's a nice excuse to sit on the sofa for a little bit, Netflix and chill. It was nice because I was going for a lot of walks and stuff just to get out and get moving, because that's really important sometimes, just to get everything moving. It was painful to walk, but you just take it at your stride and your pace. I was very lucky. My parents were very supportive. My mum was giving me massages on my legs when it was feeling a bit heavy and painful. But again, just remember, it's 4 days. That's it. And it wasn't super painful. Well, it was unbearable. I could still sleep. I could still work. It was just achy, basically. And I think that's important for everybody to understand. But the beauty of this is you go into hospital on that 5th day, you donate, and actually the pain that I experienced for those 4 to 5 days, I no longer experienced afterwards. It's almost like when the stem cells are gone, pain is gone also. And that's important for everyone to know, is that for me personally, I didn't experience any pain after delivering and after donating. It was just like I felt back to normal, felt like how I was, 2 weeks before. Within those 4 days, because of, again, how many stem cells you're producing, I actually put on about half a stone. Remember, everybody, this is not half a stone of fat. This is just half a stone of very heavy bones. And as soon as you've let go of all of those stem cells in the process of the peripheral stem cell donation, all of that kind of weight goes as well. So don't panic if you are somebody who's going through this and you think, oh my God, did I just put half a stone? I was just spending like a year trying to lose weight. Don't worry about it. It's just the weight of the stem cells. It's like putting water in this glass. It's going to get heavier. As soon as you empty the water out, it's gone. So that was my kind of lead up to the donation. I went in to then donate again at the London clinic. So I was very familiar with the hospital. The nurses were incredible. Again, they have got your best health at heart. You're their priority. And it was lovely because I was in a room with other donors, so we could all talk to each other and spend time together and just share stories. And I got to have my mum and my sisters there as well. So they just kept me motivated and kept me going, which was lovely. The usual then donation, which Kirpa mentioned, which is like 90% of the way that you would probably donate, is through a peripheral blood stem cell donation. So what that means is they put in one kind of needle into one vein in one arm, another needle into the other. You're then connected to a machine. And effectively what's happening is that the blood is coming out from one arm, going into this machine. It extracts the stem cells through this machine, and then the blood gets put back in. So you're actually not losing any blood. It's just taking the blood out, taking the stem cells out, and then putting the blood straight back in. Now, for most people, this works very, very effectively, and it's a pain-free process. You've just got to sit down and let it do its job.
Can I share the picture of the hospital?
Yes,
of yours. Let me just show people how smiley you looked sitting there. Can everybody see that?
Oh yes, I can see that.
Can you see that?
Yes.
You look lovely.
So what's interesting, actually, I'd like to share with you all at this regarding this picture is that you'll probably be able to notice that there's some tubes coming from my neck. I've got quite small veins and quite deep-rooted veins. I always say I blame my grandma because she's exactly the same. We both have very small and very deep-rooted veins. So what ended up happening is they couldn't get the needles into my veins because of how small and how deep they were. So in the morning, they instead decided to do it through my neck. Uncomfortable, but not painful. I went into a minor surgery, local anesthetic was delivered, and then I had just 2 pipes coming from my neck, and the same process. So blood was being extracted from one end, going into the machine, stem cells were extracted, and then put straight back into the other side of my neck. It meant I was very still, and the whole process takes maybe 6 to 8 hours. But again, it's a great time for you to catch up on stuff. You can have friends and family there to keep you going. And like I said, there's many other donors there who are all kind of sharing stories together, and time goes pretty quick. But it's not a painful process. So that process, though it looks a little bit peculiar and maybe a bit daunting for some, it's not painful at all. It's just actually a really nice excuse to stop, which I always say is a really good thing. We live such fast-paced lives. This is a great time for you to just stop and remain really present. And you can do some reading. You can, catch up, like I said, with a friend on the phone. You can listen to a podcast. Just 8 hours of just remaining very still. But it's not painful at all.
That's great to know, Sonali. It's also a relief for most people to know that it's just a simple procedure, more than the way it sounds. How did you feel after that? After the the donation was done. You said you felt all right in terms of physically, but how long? Two things. How long did you take to recover completely and go back to an absolute normal life? And how did you actually feel about yourself after making that donation?
So to answer your first question, physical, how did I feel physically afterwards and how long did it take to go back to normality? Physically afterwards, I felt fine. I felt a little bit tired, but I think that's just because I'd been lying still for 8 hours and that's going to happen to anybody. But yeah, apart from feeling a little bit tired, same kind of tired you feel after a days of work, it's fine. In terms of health, no problem. It was amazing. I walked from London Clinic to Baker Street Station with no pain. And as I mentioned earlier, when I had my GCSF injections, I was finding a bit of pain when walking and I couldn't walk very fast or walk very long. Actually, I walked from London Clinic to Baker Street Station in no pain at all. And this goes to show that all the stem cells have completely been extracted. So actually, there's nothing left in your body for you to experience that pain, that lethargy, etc. From a mental perspective, I think I cried as soon as I delivered, because, and it still brings tears to my eyes now, 8 years later, is one of, I'd say it again and again, it's one of by far the most rewarding, phenomenal experiences ever. I remember the doctor came up to me afterwards and he was like, "You're a superwoman." And I was like, I'm really not. I'm so blessed myself to have been given the opportunity to do something like this. I mean, when do we as average Joes ever get to say we saved a life? I mean, unless we have one of those professions, we're in the one of our amazing forces, maybe we're in the medical community, but otherwise, the average Joe, we never really get to say we've saved a life. And I was able to say that just from a very small act, from 8 hours of donation, few injections in the days leading up, I got to save a life. That's incredible. That's such an awesome thing for you to be able to take with you for the rest of your life.
That's great to know how little it takes and how great it feels. Did you get to meet the person that you actually made the donation to?
No, because it was all altruistic. So I hadn't actually donated to someone I knew. I just donated to somebody who was on the donor list, or who required a donor, beg your pardon. But I had actually a couple of weeks ago when we did the previous live, I had actually emailed a week prior to see if they wouldn't mind sharing with me the person, because they do like to keep things confidential, and quite rightly so. But now that it's been about 8 years, I think they're more willing to discuss the patient with you if they are able to. So I've actually asked to know who it is if possible. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm really excited to receive that email.
Oh, lovely. We all look forward to it.
I would definitely share it with you.
Yes, you do. There again, another thing that I want to know, that if it was that simple, why are as many people not donating? This would be for Kirpa and Sonali both. Mm-hmm. We all know it is lack of awareness. Are there any other inhibitions that are stopping people from donating?
So a couple of things. Lack of awareness. Yes, you're right. The Jolly is definitely one of them. The second thing is, oh my gosh, if my child donates, what if something happens to them? They worry that if something happens to their own child, are you now in a worse risk of health, good health? What's quite interesting is when I donated, I never realized I was ever going to be working in the health and wellness industry. I was morbidly overweight. You probably couldn't tell right now, but I was morbidly overweight. I was not eating right, I was not exercising, and I donated. And so some people think, oh my gosh, what if you donate and your health goes really poorly, so you actually have a detriment to your health? Mine's gone the other way. So hopefully I'm an inspiration to someone to say, actually, or I'm an example to somebody to say, actually, I'm in better health than I am when I donated. Wow. And hopefully that gives any of you watching a bit of peace of mind to say that actually it doesn't really affect your health in the long run. And Anthony Nolan give you a follow-up every single year to ask you how you're feeling. There is a really great community when it comes to stem cell donation. And like I said from the start, they want to make sure that your health is always looked after. So you're always going to be in good health. And I guess the other point to make is, like I said, a lot of people were worried about their loved ones. I think reading up and having these conversations is really important. So speaking to people, speaking to loved ones, speaking to your own sisters, your own partners. You know, imagine if you right now go and donate, or you go and register and then go and tell your spouse or your partner, and he or she then goes and registers, and that person goes and tells their sibling, and they go and register, and they tell their in-laws, and they go and register. Just one person you need to tell, and actually so many amazing things can happen. You now have a stream of
reaction.
100 people, exactly, a chain reaction. And the last point I'd like to make in terms of why people aren't donating is, unfortunately, we live in a culture. I don't mean the Asian culture, I just mean general culture, where we always think somebody else is going to do it. So we say, oh, I won't donate, but there'll be someone. I mean, you know, there will be. And actually, I speak about this a lot, where I say, if we all just took responsibility, so if I donated and said, I'm not going to wait for somebody else to make a change, I'm going to make that change, right?
So true.
Walking on the street and you see a bit of litter, why do you walk by it? Instead, pick it up, because who else is going to pick it up? No one else is going to pick it up. So actually making sure that you are taking ownership, because if you make that change, you are then creating that ripple effect, and you are making sure that someone like Veer is finding that match. And if you can donate, and say suppose you donate, and I said this last time, if you donate to Priya's son, and Priya then donates to Mark's son, and Mark donates to Sajid's son, look at that. Look at the amount of people being helped just by you saying that I'm not allowing somebody else to do it for me. I'm taking charge. This is our universe. We need to behave as brothers and sisters in this universe. Don't just say, I'm only going to do it if it's my sister. I'm only going to do it if it's my neighbor. Go and do it, because we are all in this together. We are all there to help one another. We should be. So don't expect that somebody else is going to do it. Don't expect somebody else to pick that up for you. We are all in this together. So make it happen. Take ownership. Make that change. If you have felt anything by Veer's story, or by speaking to Girpa, or being a part of this conversation today, go and register. Make that registration. Take that 2-second swab test, and make that change. If this means enough to you, if you would wait for it to happen to your own child or your own family member, do it for Veer, do it for somebody else. And fingers crossed, but as Girpa said, God forbid it could happen to anybody. And if this was someone who meant something to you, you'd want others to do it for you too. So make that change, and don't rely on anyone else.
Thank you so much, Sonali. I just wanted to, sorry,
fan club. And then there's a question. Can I just ask her the question?
That's what I was going to say. Are you going to ask?
Yeah. So someone's just asked about, is it a bit like dialysis?
No, it's easier than dialysis. Dialysis requires a surgery first, so they can actually get something inside and then have a tube coming out. And then you're sitting for hours upon hours upon hours, maybe 3-4 times a week. This isn't anything, you don't need a surgery. You actually just come in, and it's like a blood test, like Nita said earlier. You just put in a needle in one arm, needle in the other. You sit there for 8 hours. So it's like one session, and that is it. So it's actually considerably easier than dialysis.
Yeah.
Another question has come to me. Can a person donate only once in their lifetime?
So as far as I've read up on, you can donate, I believe, up to 3 to 4 times. However, the chances of that happening, like Girpa mentioned, is pretty slim. I donated once, and I was pretty lucky to even be able to do that. Like I said, I have a family friend who's been on the donor register for now 35, 40 years, and he's never been a match. And pretty soon he won't be allowed to donate. So the chances of you being more than one, a match for one, is pretty slim. But you can donate, I believe, up to 3 to 4 times according to the Anthony Nolan website.
Just going back to the previous question of why we think people are not wanting to do it or have reservations. There's also one other angle. I mean, Sonali, you explained it perfectly. Everything I was thinking of, you said it. But there's one other angle that we've also come across in our campaign, is that for religious reasons, people have religious reasons why they don't want to do it. But what I'd like to say to people who are not sure because of religious reasons, think about it this way. If it was happening to you, would you be willing to accept, if you needed a kidney, Would you be willing to accept if you needed a blood transfusion? Would you be willing to take someone else's blood? And if the answer to that is yes, then why would you not want to give for someone else? And I think it's really important to think about it that way as well.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. Totally agree.
I think there's as we're speaking right now, having this conversation, I've got this message from Facebook. We've actually had quite a few who are going to register now after watching our. Thank you,
That's
guys.
amazing. That's
I mean,
amazing.
I know. I just think that even if us having this conversation, even if one person, even if there are few people listening, even if one person is registers, and if that one person is a match, that's 100% success. That's all we need, you know.
Yes. I also loved, and I want to highlight the point that Sonali made, where everyone thinks that there's going to be someone else out there who will do it. Unfortunately, from whatever we've learned so far, this cannot work with a few hundreds or a few thousands. This is a numbers game for which each and every person has to get involved, because you never know when you could hit that jackpot and get, but it's finding a needle in a haystack. And until and unless every single person that we know from our family, from our friends, our community, our neighbors, until and unless everyone doesn't register, we just not getting, we not closer to our success.
And actually, you're right, it's that needle in a haystack, and you're right, it just takes that one person, just one person. If you're thinking to yourself, someone else will do it. What if it was you? What if you're that one person? And
Absolutely.
actually, to everybody watching today, I would like to set you all a challenge. So I'd like to set you all a challenge of just speaking to one person and telling one person to donate. Not two, not three. Of course, if you want to encourage two or three, please feel free. But I would like to challenge everybody here watching today to go and find one person and get them to sign up to the register. And just by getting that one person, if there is 1,000 of you watching here today, then that's 1,000 new signups. And maybe those 1,000 new signups will go and tell one person, and that's now 2,000 new signups. And right now, like Giripa said, there was 7,000. Veer needs 100,000, right? So please, 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 I challenge you all today. If you have fulfilled that challenge, reach out to me. I want to know, because this is a super exciting process for me to help try and find not just Veer's match, but encourage more and more people to sign up to the register, because it is by far, like I say, one of the most rewarding, phenomenal things I've ever done. And I would love for you all to feel the same way and to be able to experience this beautiful, blessed journey that I've been able to be a part of. So if anyone has any more questions for me personally, I'd be very, very happy to speak to you. You can reach out on Facebook, you can reach out on Instagram, you can find me Sonali_bodyplot. So just reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. But I set you all that one challenge, and I'm looking forward to seeing that challenge come to light.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sonali.
Can
That's
you-
so inspirational. I wish and I hope that I get that call, that I'm a match to somebody. And I'm sure Tejali also hopes, so we can, we can help in our own little way. We've got a message. Can we see Veer on Facebook again, live?
or his picture, but it would be lovely if we can say hello to him.
I'm just seeing
Yeah.
if I can get him to come. Just 1 second, I'll go and get him.
Or just get a picture of
But
him.
I just,
That's enough for
Yeah.
us.
Wait, let me
okay.
share his picture.
But can I just quickly, before
Yeah.
you wrap up, I just want to say, like, just this whole event. Thank you to the four of you and everyone behind the scenes for helping to put this together. It means so much to us, but it's made me feel really emotional that people are listening and actually registering. It just means so much for Veer. And yeah, I mean, thank you for the support. It means so much. Thank you.
It's the least we can do.
Super.
Kirpa.
We're all on a mission, okay? We're going to get Veer through this.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Sonali, you were sharing something? Okay, I want to share Veer's picture before he comes.
Oh, that is Veer's.
I think that is him asking everybody what is your registration
We've got
status.
him.
Oh, there he is.
So,
Here we are. Here's
He's
Veer.
asking what is your registration status. Hi there.
Hello.
So if you'd like to register, yeah, it's www.helpveernow.org. Thank you very much. Say anything?
Any final messages from anybody?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Veer. You're a brave
thank
boy.
you, Veer.
We're on a mission to find your superhero. Okay?
Yeah, we're going to find our
Yes.
superhero, aren't we? Yeah.
You are our superhero, Veer,
Yes.
for all of us.
For all of us.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I'm going now.
Loads of love and blessings from everyone, says our vice president to Veer, and our secretary and our president, all of us from Maharashtra Mandal, London. We would like to wish you all the best in finding a perfect match, and hopefully we can do more to help you out.
Thank you.
And we accept Sonali's challenge. All of
Yes,
us.
Yes.
I think I have met my
Good
challenge. My husband's already going on the register. He's going to register himself, he said.
And then he gets someone else to donate. So
Yeah.
it is a never ending thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tejas, can we get everybody on gallery view so that we can say finally thank you, goodbye to everybody? Okay. So shall we call it a day then? Thank you everyone for being on board. Thank you to our listeners for coming on board, for coming live Facebook, for spending their valuable time listening to us. And hopefully you will make that decision, and when we won't be far away from getting a perfect match for Veer and children like Veer. Cross your fingers.
All right. All the best.
Bye-bye.
And go get your registration done right away.
Yes,
Thank you, everyone.
we
Bye-bye.
challenge you, isn't it?